We have a very eminent panel for the panel discussion, and let me briefly introduce the panel. We will have none other than the director of MNIT, Professor Uday Kumar, who's also the president of MNIT Innovation and Incubation Center, MIIC. We will have Dr. Anita Gupta. She's advisor and head of NSTDB at Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and she is spearheading the program of TBI, all the technology business incubators. They are actually reporting to her, and she is monitoring and mentoring the progress, including the TBI that we are having at MNIT. We have the third panelist, Professor Sandeep Sancheti. Professor Sandeep Sancheti is Vice Chancellor of SRM University. Before that, he has been director of NIT Surathkal. He has been director of NIT Delhi. He has been president of Manipal Institute at Manipal University at Jaipur. And more importantly for us is he has been a professor at MNIT Jaipur. Professor Sancheti has seen IP situation in probably more than a dozen institutes very closely, and therefore he can present a very broader and deeper perspective to this panel. The fourth person is Dr. Yashwant Dev. Professor Yashwant Dev is head of the PFC section of TIFAC. TIFAC, as we all know, is facilitating patenting in the country with support of DST. And I know Dr. Yashwant for past 15 years, at least 20 years, maybe, Yashwant, if I'm not wrong. And he has been pioneer in promoting the patenting policy process in academic institutions, including MNIT. So we have this very knowledgeable panel, and we have one of the best moderators of panel discussion to have this session, Puneet Sharma. Mr. Puneet Sharma is also part of this ecosystem, and he's also involved with our incubation center. And we have brought this event with support of two organizations, IP Curate and Aryavrat Foundation, and they have also helped us in shaping up this event as well as approaching out to panelists and session speakers. We will have 5-day long session. Today is the first one, and this panel discussion is the last part of the inaugural day. So over to you, Puneet.
Thank you, Professor Mathur. And this was a wonderful morning, being with the eminent panelists and listening words of wisdom. So I'm sure people, those who are might be having a different mindset, Corona has created a crisis or lots of opportunities. It all depends on the mindset, whatever we are having. Honorable Prime Minister has initiated already Atmanirbhar Bharat. And with this, famous saying that we are quite talented. We are very good in Jugaad technologies. It means local innovations, which may not be scientifically proven, but by default, we are quite talented people. We must monetize our capacity to create value. There is a tremendous amount of opportunity in terms of creating value within the country. We are working towards building empowered and digitally inclusive society with the help of technology. We are building Atmanirbhar Bharat. To begin with, coming to Dr. Anita, I would like to know the role and importance of IPR for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Dr. Anita, are you there?
Please unmute yourself, Dr. Anita.
Yeah, so thank you, Puneet, and thank you, MNIT, the IIE, and all those who are involved in shaping up, formulating this very
Dr. Anita, could you please help us? You're not audible.
Is it okay now?
Now it's better.
Yeah. So a very good morning from DST side, and I must congratulate the entire team behind putting up this whole full week's program, which focuses on various facets of IP significance. More so, as everyone knows, the whole world is grappling with the unprecedented health crisis of COVID-19, and where survival of human race is actually being it's such a scary. Everyone is looking for when the new vaccine come, or where a country attains the herd immunity, or develops the right kind of antibodies which are required to fight this a very small invisible enemy worldwide. When survival is at stake, same is the case with the survival of all the entities, organizations, MSMEs, you name. Everyone has been hit so badly by this, which was actually no one had ever thought of. No one could even visualize or gauge the impact, the adverse impact, and how badly everyone is hit. Now, this particular time has given us a real, you can say, a checking the ground realities, and we got enough time to introspect, whether it's an organization or any institution, what needs to be really done to tackle this. And everyone is aware that the human course and progress is shaped up by four things. First is obviously your imagination. Secondly, inspiration. Fourth is invention and innovation. What better role one can ask for innovation, getting innovation in place in very timely than the current times, which are unfortunately very uncertain also. And if you talk of in terms of innovation, why it is being stressed, DST has been playing a very powerful role, not only in the current times, but I think in 3 decades, we were sort of early in a game. We started off and that time also based on the US global experience and how they have actually created the right kind of within the academic institutions to foster innovation, and why, how are they engaging with the companies. The entire innovation value chain has been, see, with the technology TLOs and TTOs in place. They gave the all top and developed countries gave so much significance. But when we analyze India was just starting off. DST started with the Science and Technology Entrepreneurs Park way back in mid of 80s. Couple of NITs, I think NIT Surathkal was also one of them. All NIT Trichy and couple of other institutions as well. So when we started off with this kind of initiative,
You've gone on mute, ma'am.
actually something is happening with the bandwidth, and it's actually automatically shifting from mute to unmute. So I'll just keep a check on it.
Human intelligence is more reliable than artificial intelligence. These machines
yeah, so I have to keep a tap on the actually audio side as well. So yeah, so continuing, what I want to really highlight that now is the high time. Take for example, we were nowhere in terms of PPEs when this pandemic struck, and how quickly our companies, our organization, our health authorities, our hospitals actually worked collaboratively together and came out, and now we are number 2 worldwide, clocking about 7,000 crores of turnover only through PPEs. So it's not that, like, given a sense of purpose, given a criticality of time, and no doubt the kind of talent pool we have all the ingredients in place to connect the various dots to come out with a very workable solution. And that's why I wanted to highlight, giving the example of PPE. But like, see, one door closes, another door opens. So one has to be really observant what kind of problems are really need to be addressed, how, when, and even then one need to visualize that even if you are creating a solution, is it causing any problem to the environment? The way we have been told that PPEs are even now become an environmental threat also in terms of disposable. The PPEs are plastics and they need disposal. So what could be, can we come out with a reusable PPEs, or if at all, how we can, there could be incinerators so there are so many areas to be addressed. And with Atmanirbhar, PM has given every one of us a clarion call. And if you say there are 5 I's, which are pillars of being Atmanirbhar India. First is the intent. Intent, everyone knows why we want to be self-reliant in virtually each and every sector. See, I think this is a Zoom platform we are using. Now, Zoom is headquartered where? In Silicon Valley. Why can't we have a good VC platform indigenous? And that's how MeitY has come out with a grand challenge. How an indigenous, which is very user-friendly, such kind of solutions could be developed. So one has to really look out why are we reliable on the kind of 49 or 59 apps from China. We banned it. Why? We want all these to happen right in India, where we have all the ingredients present. And the need is to only sensitize, mobilize, support and gear up the entire ecosystem very timely. So I talked about intent. Second is inclusion. Why such development in India should be confined to only tier metro cities? Why can't we take rural India along? So all these include, or why not gender? Why it should be all level playing field, whether you call out geographical location or you call a take a example of you can say gender wise, society wise. So it has to be really, whatever work we are doing has to be really totally inclusive. Second, third is the kind of infrastructure. We need to really upgrade our infrastructure. You call it transportation, you call it even at institute level, the kind of labs should be really state of the art, because institutions become the seed beds of new ideas and new innovation. Until we have that kind of infrastructure, and both the hard infrastructure as well as the in terms of expertise. Faculty needs to be really abreast with the latest happenings, knowledge, latest practices. Until think of institutions really being a great partner in the whole development cycle. See, everyone knows product life cycle is getting shorter and shorter day by day. iOS, which is of 5 years ago, no one uses that. So, and name any sector. In order to be competitive, you have to really evolve. Similarly, because of pandemic, education has really, the new normals have been created. It's an online education, e-learning mode, and the institutions who were early in the game in terms of MOOCs and all, they are reaping the benefits. But other institutions who I must congratulate, the academic institutions have been really forthcoming. They have really adapted to this and evolved their whole education ecosystem, and this is still in progression and evolution stage as we go by. And so infrastructure has to be really top grade if you talk of innovation. If not, one should really make a good roadmap how sooner one can aspire to have the best kind of or state-of-the-art infrastructure. Then is the investment side. See, everything needs investment. One has to really infuse investment if you are talking of being Atmanirbhar or self-reliant, because you need the right set of development to be taken right from the research level to having a presence felt in the domestic markets, to also international connects. Because see, you now the whole world is one. When the whole world is one, the products you may find relevance in India can always find relevance in the developing countries to begin with. See, all solutions, be it healthcare, be it agri, water, you find value in African countries. So, and the fifth one is the innovation. See, that's the central of any being Atmanirbhar starts with innovation. So I would like to add upon two things into like intellectual property. Until as intellectual property, you are there to protect your whatever you are doing, there will be a number of players sooner or later. So how do you protect? If you become the first mover, how do you encash and leverage the first mover advantage? Because people are very smart today. If you are not able to protect timely, and fortunately under Startup India program, startups are given 80% rebate or concessions in terms of filing of patents and trademarks.
I'll come back to you, Dr. Anita, regarding in what way your organization can be a great support
So,
to
yeah,
nurture innovation as well as women entrepreneurship. I'm moving to Professor Sancheti. As rightly said by you, innovation is the key to lead anything towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. And when it comes to innovation, as science and research has already declared that young people, they are best when it comes to innovation. And India is a country where demographic dividend is numerous. So now to train the young mind, it is the responsibility of academic. In what way academic institutions can foster culture of innovation in startup? Because India is a culturally driven society. We understand things in a cultural manner. Over to Professor Sancheti.
Good morning to everyone from Chennai. Thank you, Punitji, for this important point, which I need to answer. I'm also very thankful to MNIT, my parent and mother institution, also to Professor Yaragatti and also Professor Mathur for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to get connected and share and do something. I'm very happy to share some of my experiences as far as fostering of innovation, startup, incubation, this kind of a culture is concerned in academic institutions. However, I must say in the beginning that to develop a culture is a very slow and gradual process. It cannot be done instantaneously. It needs many, many ingredients. It will not be possible to deal with all the ingredients, what is required to develop the culture. But I would give some examples, maybe the ones which we have experimented with probably would help to convince others, those who are participating, that it can be done. Number one would be that when the students come to our institution, I think we have to sow that dream of doing such a thing right in the early stage, possibly in the first year. And there was a time when I used to hear that a lot in the US was being done that right in the first year, they'll be given a task which may be improving an efficiency of a bulb or of an engine by 0.5%, 1%, reducing the shape, size, cost, whatever, play with it. And therefore you start feeling what engineering is about. So once you do that, then you develop a habit of taking tools and tackles, playing with any product and trying to see can you do something with that? So that's one thing which we should do it and we should nurture. I think first year should have a compulsory subject of this nature where what we call this tinkering is a right word, Atal Tinkering Lab, which we hear. This tinkering should be allowed. Whether they succeed or fail should not be important in that as long as they are tinkering. The second thing which we require, which actually is required at the school stage itself, but unfortunately we cannot control that and we cannot demand from others that what they should do for us. The school system, I'm sure, is also wondering about these points. And I say that as 4 W's and 1 H. We don't have tendency in our institutions where a student will tend to ask why, what, where, when, and how. They simply take our word for granted as correct word, whether we are right or wrong. And with that culture, newness will never come, innovation will never come. And therefore, for innovation, you have to keep scratching your head, and teachers should feel proud when students tend to ask these kind of questions, and that should be promoted. And if there is no answer for with a teacher, I think a teacher should feel comfortable saying that, okay, we'll discuss this answer tomorrow, or any student who has an answer possibly can come with that or share that, and he or she should be appreciated. I think that will bring a lot of innovation, in my opinion, that sort of a culture. So this is at the fundamental level, I would say. There was a time when I was a young faculty, maybe 20 years back, we started talking about entrepreneurship, and I found that a lot of people suggest, okay, let's keep one course. So this is a capsule approach. For everything which we need in our body, we put a capsule, and body cannot be built. It can only repair something. Now, we had a capsule approach for entrepreneurship for some time. I think that would not work. So it should be a continuous exposure right from first year onwards till the time they are with us. I think something should be done for continuous exposure. Maybe this kind of a webinar, which is happening for a week long or 5 days long event, I think that should be also be available. Various other things can be there. So continuous exposure is required. And that's when the ecosystem comes into picture. So to develop that ecosystem, I would possibly say some smaller steps are also required. Number one, most of my critical labs should be open 24/7. and the mentoring and the responsibility of mentoring that lab, maintaining that lab should be given to the students. Unless they are given the position of responsibility, I think they will not be able to express themselves fully. And unless I remove the watch and ward on top of them, then they cannot freely experiment with something. Also, I would like to have a thing called, I will have tolerance for their failures at this stage. Many students are inquisitive about the experiments which we do in the lab. I would like to allow them to play with the extreme cases of experimentation, applying more voltages or pressures or temperature, and see what happens to my experiment. And who knows, they may come out with some sort of an innovation in the process, because they are playing with the things. And therefore, trying to do something different will bring the innovation, in my opinion. But let's talk about what you said very clearly, fostering the culture of innovation and startup. Startup is an equally important. I would possibly say that there is an important thing which we require. So maybe in first year, second year, third year, whatever that, depending upon the nature of program, one can do some basic work. But in the final year, the second last semester, I would like to seed the student into a mode of what we call the startup, if possible. I'm saying pre-final semester. If there are 8 semesters, then in the 7th semester, I will possibly select the students who are going to go for the, let's say, startup, seed them, give them the space, make their teams, tell them that, yes, you are going to get a go-ahead from my side. And in the 8th semester, that 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, whatever can be given to them, even if there is a delayed result, they can play with their startup, irrespective of any other courses being done, any other examinations being put to them. So last semester will be a full semester where they'll be working with the startup part of it is. And let us say they have done a good effort and they succeed, obviously they will get the credit for the project. But even if they do not get the success in what they were trying to do, but their effort is good, they should still get the credit for their final year project, which is required in the engineering program, as an example. And therefore, I'll allocate the credits for the startup they are trying to do. The beauty of that is the risk-taking capacity is much more. They know that they're getting their degree. They know that they will not be put to any difficulty. And another risk which is there is, once they graduate and try to do their startup, the family, the society, the friends say, hey, you didn't get a job. Why are you not going for the job? This job was good for you. Why are you starting something new? You'll be in trouble. I think that risk-taking capacity goes less. So if in 6 months, 9 months, or 1 year, one tastes the success of what is going to come, I think the chances of startup becoming successful becomes much more. And why it becomes much more is because all the technological support are there, all the proprietary support which is required, all the students who are ready to work for that particular startup are also there. And therefore, there is a complete ecosystem which is available. And as was being said by Mr. Mathur, Professor Mathur just now in the last talk, that the MNIT faculty members have started their own companies. So there is a chance that the person who has helped you invent and learn about that particular thing will also be partner with you when you are starting it up there. So innovation should also be supported. The culture should also have the teachers also participating in big way. And the last two things which I'll give you in a very small way is allow the risk taking. If someone does something, I think he should always be petted. Even if there is a small waste of money and time, should be petted. I actually go to the extreme of saying that the failure should be celebrated more than the successes. Success is anyway automatically celebrated by the world. Everyone goes gaga about you. But who will pat those 9 people out of 10 who do not necessarily succeed? I think institutions' responsibility is to treat everyone equally, and therefore the failure should be kind of celebrated. And one way of celebrating that possibly for me would be that suppose I work for a startup for 1 year and I don't succeed, my institution should allow me a deferred placement with the next batch, so that if Sandeep Sancheti later wishes that, okay, he's not good at a startup and he will not succeed, let him go for a good job. I think institution should secure my job or help me with that. Then the plunge taking in the startups will become much more, in my opinion. And that is how I will probably try to set up the culture. Fortunately, COVID also has helped the culture right now, that people have been given time to think about innovation research. I think MNIT must have come with dozen startups and dozen ideas. My own institution here, SRM, has done at least 5 to 6 apps, probably one of the biggest and best or earliest in the world was also done by our students. So what I'm saying is, you give them time, you give them space, you give them money, you give them pat, I think the work will be done. Indians are very, very, you can say, intelligent and can work hard towards succeeding in these domains. So this is my view. Punitji, thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Sancheti. Rightly said that institutions are the places where you learn from your mistakes. Similarly, the way you do it at your home. Your parental support is always there, no matter whether you get success or no success. But of course, it's a process of learning. And a person who has undergone through a journey of startup, no matter whether could succeed or not, but that person is a better human resource for when it comes to job, because he has exercised all spheres of an industry in a, might be in a diminutive form, might be at a lower or lesser scale, but the dividend is more, the learnings are more. And when it comes to taking the journey ahead, it is always hand-holding is essential. In what way your organization, TIFAC, can help or do hand-holding for patent through patent facilitating center, the way you have been already doing for various academic institutions? Would like to know more on that. Dr. Yashwant, are you there?
Please unmute Dr. Yashwant.
Yeah. I'm audible, I believe, now.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Punitji, for a nice introduction. Let me pick a thread from my previous two panelists, Dr. Anita Gupta and Dr. Sancheti, who actually emphasized the ingredients and then also said that we have all ingredients. In that light, let me congratulate MNIT for getting 4 patents granted through Patent Facilitating Center of TIFAC in last 1 year. So from September 2019 to till date, the 4 patents have been granted to MNIT with the support of Patent Facilitating Center, and congratulations to MNIT for obtaining these patents. And second point, I would like to pick a thread. Dr. Anita Gupta said intent is very, very important. And then with this intent, as Dr. Jyotirmay said, that we have been working together for the cause of intellectual property rights and patents, and collaborating with MNIT for protecting intellectual property and patents of MNIT. So with your question, how we support, so let me first introduce the whole functioning of this Patent Facilitating Center. This center was established in 1995 by Department of Science and Technology, and the responsibility of implementing this patent facilitation was given to an organization called Technology Information Forecasting and Assessment Council, popularly known as a TIFAC, with 4-fold objectives. The first and foremost objective was to create a culture of utilizing patent information while doing research and development. And I think we have to do a lot of work on that particular area. We have not been able to succeed the way we would have done on that particular front, because if we start utilizing the patent information in our research and development work or our implementation of our projects and other work, we will not come up with new patents and innovation, because see, we do literature review, literature survey, but 80% of technical information which get published in patent document never get published in any other technical journal, or so we are missing a lot of important information if we don't look at patent information. And the second objective of creating awareness, I'll not dwell on that too much, because all of us are doing together a lot of awareness programs. Initially we started and now picked up by everybody, and then a lot of training and awareness going in the country very well at a wider scale. And third was to facilitate scientists and technologists and institutions like you in filing and obtaining patents. So process for that, I think Jyotirmay and Dilip Sharma and then many professors who got patents, they know. But let me explain this. We kept this process very simple. we did not get into too much of format or formalities, etc., etc. We said inventor can just write to us with a half a page write-up on their invention initially to begin or start conversing on assessment of a patentability, and keep your institutional authorities informed, because all those form power of authority, form many formalities has to be executed by institute. So keep the institute informed and take their permission while we assess the patentability for your invention. So then our team interact with inventors and the patentability assessment is done. So once inventions found patentable, we send those details to attorneys, the IP attorneys or a patent attorney on our panel, and they draft patent application on behalf of institutions like you, as it has been done. Do the prosecution of those patent and till grant, and after grant also we help in maintaining patents if there are some efforts by institutes in commercialization of those patents. So I think these 4 inventions, some of them we have not paid renewal fees, because I think we have to take them to the next stage, then we can do that. So I request MNIT to take those steps so we can renew them. And the 4th objective was to provide policy inputs to the government, be it state government or central governments. So we played an important role in national IPR policy, as well as now here. Why policy issue? I want to bring this 4th objective, because with this government of Rajasthan, we have helped them to come up with model policy for IP policies for universities for the state of Rajasthan. And that model policy have been adopted by many universities now. This was approved last year by the government, where, as Dr. Kesan mentioned, that how do you share benefits arises out of intellectual property created by institutions. So this policy talks about the whole system. How do you protect it? Who will protect it? Who will own it? How do you help startups? How do you help MSME? How do you license? Do you sell or a license? So all those things have been covered in those policies. So I invite all of you to take advantage of this patent facilitating mechanism of TIFAC, which is supported by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. We are implementing not only through our center, but we have a patent information center at the State Council of Science and Technology, or Department of Science and Technology, Government of Rajasthan, Jaipur also. So I think with these remarks, because we are running out of time.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Yashwant. And special thanks to you and whole team for making things very simple. And people usually have a notion that when it comes to patent, it sounds quite heavy. Might be something which is being created from out of the world, a rocket science, even a smallest thing which is very unique, innovative, and can be commercialized. Even if it is not commercialized immediately, it should be protected by patenting. And thank you for making this process simple and doing hand holding. और बहुत सारे जो यंग मेरे दोस्त अभी प्रोग्राम को देख रहे हैं, इवन चाहे वो स्कूल के लेवल पे हो, कॉलेज के लेवल पे हैं, और आपका एक प्रोजेक्ट भी हो सकता है, एक डेमोन्स्ट्रेटिव प्रोजेक्ट भी हो सकता है, बट देयर इज सम solution is hidden in that. You can go for patenting of that also. बस करना ये है कि ये जो भाई साहब है इनको थोड़ा सा यूज करना है. बहुत सारा सोशल मीडिया करते हैं, उसके साथ साथ कुछ काम का जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है, काम की इन्फॉर्मेशन है. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की बहुत सारी वेबसाइट्स हैं विच आर रियली हेल्पफुल. उन्हें एक्सप्लोर करना है, सेल्फ एजुकेट करना है, आपके अपने लिए नहीं तो कम से कम दूसरों के लिए इन्फॉर्मेशन जरूर गैदर करें, सही लोगों तक सही जानकारी पहुंचाएं. जिस तरह से अभी MNIT ने प्लेटफॉर्म जनरेट किया है, एंड गेटिंग पीपल टुगेदर टू हैव शेयर इंफॉर्मेशन फॉर यंग पीपल. नाउ कमिंग टू प्रोफेसर Yarjati, connect is quite essential. No matter whatever somebody is producing something, when it comes to academic institutions, especially technological institutions, in each and every city there are some small or medium enterprises are always available. in what way academic institutions research can be get connected to those SMEs, or vice versa, the problem areas which are available in SMEs can be given to academic institutions and creating solutions for them. Professor Yaragatti.
Good morning, all the beautiful people here, and thank you, Dr. Puneet. First, let me tell Professor Sanchetti, sir, in MNIT, we have a policy, deferred policy for the students who are taking up startups, and if they are a failure, they can come back and after 2 years, take the placement also. That's been made a rule in our team.
Excellent.
And we already have 6 dozens, 73 startups working in our incubation center.
Excellent.
So that's a good part of it. To Sri Ashwanji, we will ask the inventors or patent holders to renew whatever the policy needs. And Madam Anitaji, we are very grateful and thankful to the DST and your support, which is making us more stronger, like how a student needs a support from his guide or is a parent institute. You are supporting us as a head of the science and technology unit for institute like us. Coming to Dr. Puneet's question, see, it's bridging a gap between industry and academia is more important nowadays, which was not there earlier, because we had a big companies playing their role in development and other parts of the economic development in our country. But now it is not like that way. We have almost more than few lakhs of small and medium enterprises looking towards the institutes and as well the connecting it to the society. So the industry and the institute, this gap is more important to be bridged. And why academics is important? Because academic people are good in theoretical aspects. They are good in mathematical modeling. They have enthusiastic research community working together. There are simulation studies proved. They can make a prototype. And as well as the softwares used by the academicians are much more less costly than what they are available in the market. Whereas the SMEs, the industries are manpower to develop, the skilled manpower to develop whatever the prototype we have. The duplication of the product is very simple and easy, and it can be in more numbers, multiple numbers. So the industry research, industry ready products are available in the academia, specifically to the product development companies. And here the students are empowered. So this is the main reason where you should have an industry and institute academia interaction. Because 25 years back, as Professor Mathu was telling, and even Professor Kesan has made it very clear to the faculty, what is the problem with IPR rights. 25 years back, if you have to file an IPR, I think you have to catch hold of one lawyer, particular lawyer connected with that. And the moment when the faculty members talk about lawyers and laws, they said, no, we don't want to go in that group. Let us only do the research work. But the times have changed now. Everybody is aware of what his product is and how it can be sold in the market, how it has to be commercialized. Because Professor Jai Kesan got a check after a few years of his innovation. But same thing with my PhD work. Even the big company took our institute name. Some researcher from IIT helped us in the development of that product. But I never received a check. So this is the problem here. Now these are being, bridges being gapped. There's a lot of gap was there. It is being bridged now properly. And every institute is looking towards so that his perception in the industry as well as in the society increases. Even the motivation to the students, who are creators and inventors, and even the published paper can be made into a product which is society friendly. So this is the reason why the industry and the academia should come together. This is the more important Atmanirbhar, as our Prime Minister is emphasizing on that, will come out from this, because the product or the published work is a personal work which has to be made into product, and vocal for local comes into this area also, and Make in India also comes in, because our Prime Minister is dreaming on that it will be a reality of 5 trillion economy. So all this is economy, because for 70 to 80% of the economy comes from the small and medium scale industries only.
We'll
So-
come back to you, Professor Yaragatti, about the emerging areas, especially for SME sector, because that is quite interesting. Because only giant multi-crore turnover companies, they are not going to build Atmanirbhar Bharat. The role of rural India will be more. I mean, if people are becoming health conscious, products are important.
Yes.
Even those pots are really important. If you see, many people, they have started using earthen pots in their routine kitchens, not the special kitchens. So I'll come back to you on that particular part also. Right now, moving to Anita ji, to you. If you can help us in understanding a roadmap to develop an ecosystem for innovation, incubation, and startup culture.
So yeah, thank you. In fact, my job has been made easier. What Professor Sancheti has highlighted, the way institution really start working on. So these were the critical pieces which any institution should start working on. And I must congratulate MNIT. They have some of the ingredients already in place in terms of deferred placement policy, the incubation center, and so many 70 odd startups working there, the patents being granted. So I think what else more is required only is to handhold the, you can say, startups, innovators, connect them with the right set of networks going forward. And I would just like to highlight how we really also, as a entity, NSTDB within the department, we have to also constantly innovate. It's not that like we can be static and status quo could be maintained, given the calls, the market dynamics, the kind of problems we as a country face, variety of problems you name, virtually in all sectors. And what can be a grave problem if you are not able to provide the basic kind of facilities, be it sanitation, education, healthcare. We have, and forget about the high-end emerging, be it AI, ML, AR, VR, cloud computing, blockchain. So a whole plethora of, you can say, opportunities there. And when we closely sat down and analyze that, everyone knows the strength of a chain is by its weakest link. We analyzed innovation to market value chain, and that figured out the basic pieces and links were completely missing. So how to address that? We came out with a new program, Nidhi, National Initiative for Developing and Harnessing Innovation, which was largely tailored to the needs of Indian innovation ecosystem, largely at the academic institutions. And we find we have come across there are good ideators, innovators, but there's no funding available in a grant mode to convert an idea to prototype. We came with a Prayas program. Currently, out of 153 incubators network, which we have supported across India, in virtually all states, we 31 incubators have this Prayas program. We give a funding to the tune of 10 lakhs to an innovator. They can work for up to 18 months, come out with a prototype, and I'm happy to share in a journey we started off with in 2016, and in a short span, say 3 years, we have supported more than 400 Prayasis. The innovators, we call it Prayasis, and all Prayas centers, we call it Prayas Shala, very aptly named. And it is all sort of digital fabrication, all mechanical fabrication. You just need to be there to what Professor Sancheti also talked about, the tinkering, the makers lab, the fab lab, all in a one entity. The infrastructure is good. And out of this 400, I'm happy to share 3/4 have formulated their startup company. So they created a prototype, they found MVP, they found a market, they tested it, validated it, and now more than 306 startups have come out with this Prayas program. And similarly, if you really need a good pipeline of future startup founders or SNT-based entrepreneurs, we came out with the first pioneers of EIR, Entrepreneurship in Residence program. See, if any student or any SNT graduate prefers not to opt for campus placement, has a good problem to address, because see, at the same time, in order to develop the right kind of ecosystem, you need to nurture design thinking and creativity. That is so very important in an education system right from the curriculum. You go to IIT Gandhinagar, Professor Jain, SK Jain. When the JEE successful entrants make to that particular IIT, 1 month is completely for unwinding. No classes, nothing. You have to really be observant, figure out, do the jod tod fod. You come out with any product. I'm very happy to see the kind of Makers Lab they have come out with. So such a path-breaking interventions, more than what Tinkering Lab offers. So first job of any institution is to create the right kind of environment, a conducive enabling environment. See, funding will follow at later, but until as the ecosystem is present in an academic institutions, we cannot think of. And once it is there, they have to cross the valley of death, we call. Any innovation which gets translated from a lab level to market level, they have to undergo various phases and has to navigate and successfully cross over the valley of death. And our Nidhi program has all the sort of ingredients seamlessly stitched together, which enables any good successful entrepreneur, any potential innovator or entrepreneur to navigate this journey. But whatever we offer is all catalytic support to the country, to the size of India, the institutions we have, and thanks to MHRD's IIC program, I'm told by Dr. Abhay Jere, they have actually more than 1,500 IICs currently, and this is a very welcome move because it helps any institutions to build and sow the initial seeds of what an good innovation ecosystem would look like. And just lastly, I would like to tell that without any industry support, we cannot think of, because the right kind of market insights, what works well, what doesn't work well, and getting connected to industry and guide a right set of mentors who have been there, done that. We really need that kind of support. See, faculty can be good for a while, but when we really talk of making it a market success, we really need to connect and collaborate with right set of industry champions, stalwarts. Unfortunately, I have just started working because this pandemic has given a new sort of patriotism. All good HNIs, the CEOs, CXOs of companies are really aspiring to work with startups in whatever capacity. It's a pro bono activity, and we would like to see how it takes and how we can take and enable our startups in their journey. How can they fast track with the right set of inputs? So thank you.
Thank you, Anita ji. Very well said that industry is not willing to move towards, helping young startups or even a young idea. So coming to Professor Sancheti, especially in this particular time, when this flare और एक लहर है लोगों में अपना काम खुद करने की, to develop something indigenous, especially when it comes to product design and product innovations. And of course, our young students, they are good at software skills. They can come out with some better ideas, low-cost ideas, or rather no-cost ideas sometimes. So in this particular time when whole education system is moving towards project-centric or outcome-based education, what is the necessity of IPR for a student project or dissertation at master's level and research publication?
Okay, thank you, Puneetji. Before answering this question, I'll say that many expert views and good views have come to enrich our discussion, and I congratulate MNIT for making 70 plus startups. That's something very, very big, wonderful, and I congratulate them for that. One point which Professor Yaragatti was mentioning was about the problem earlier we used to face with the researchers not patenting this thing because they don't want to get into legalities. We have circumvented that problem here in SRM, and that is that for last 3 to 4 years, before my joining, this mechanism was existing here, that we have identified the agency, we have identified the lawyers, and every week, once in a week, they come here and spend a couple of days. And then there is a screening committee which identifies which are the works which are worth patenting. We also made a small route whereby people will first give it to the committee, and if it is patentable, then it will be explored. Otherwise, it will be allowed for publication. So a very good support that you can, within your office, you can come and discuss with the lawyer, helps people come very easily and discuss their potential patent prospect very easily. Now, also what Madam Gupta said was also design thinking is also, I think, is one integral part of the culture. Indirectly, I said when I said who and why, what kind of a thing, but design thinking is something, a very strong part of the culture. So that also should be developed. Coming to the question which you had raised of necessity of IPR for students, projects, dissertation, MTech, or whatever, masters, etc., or PhD. One thing I'll say that while we are discussing patent, we should also take into our fold what we call copyright. Copyright for me is an equivalent of patent, and as far as education is concerned, a lot of our work fall into the copyright domain. Why? Because architectural designs, for example, or any product design sometimes or something else will also fall into that, but more strongly our software codes are generally falling into that domain, and therefore we should try to take them at the equal level and give them some weightage. Even those are product and processes which help. And therefore, I'll try to answer it by both the things put together, IPR and copyrights which are there. Now, I have a very simple rule of understanding, rule of thumb, I call it. If I'm doing some work at undergraduate level, I will generally expect a good implementation of something which is already existing. If I'm doing something at the master's level, I will generally expect a component of innovation, some novelty or whatever, some innovation, some useful improvement. And when I go to the PhD level, I'll generally expect something level of invention or new knowledge or new principle or new implement completely. And therefore, there is a differentiator. So they are all different. So applications obviously will directly go only into the market and you get value for that. But the remaining two are generally incremental steps in the science and technology domain. If I'm learning today and gaining today, it's because of what others have done prior to me. So if I popularize what I have done by publishing something, the next generation will be benefited and they'll further improve it. And I'll be very happy if my technology becomes the base for further improvement. So that is the reason I would say that it is necessary for us to publish the work which we are doing, because it's always incremental in nature. And in the process, if my incremental step is slightly bigger, I should patent it, because that gives me the credit, that brings the value and the revenue also, if it is so required. So that this journey of science and technology research domain is not necessarily limited to a single group or single person or single time. And therefore it has to be published in form of a publication. It's a very funny thing now that in academic world, we are unable to measure teaching properly. And to rate the academic institutions, now we are taking the help of what we call the research as a Baisakhi, in the sense that research can easily be measured, and therefore a large amount of our measurement is happening through research. In fact, it's becoming too big in terms of evaluating the institutions in terms of research directly. But I would say that all these IPR publications, both are hand in hand, gives you the recognition, not only to you, your group, your peers, and then of course your institution. It has also enlarges the potential for exploration of its uses in other things. I think Jagishan sir was saying in the morning that once you do that, other groups can also use it and they can come and do it. So if I keep my knowledge to myself, I think it's a death of knowledge. It's not a knowledge at all. Knowledge, as we know in today's context, grows only by sharing, and therefore publications and patenting is sharing of it. And ultimately, why patenting? Because it brings the revenue, it brings the financial benefits, it brings the pride, esteem, recognition. All of us very happily claim, and I must claim that SRM enjoys one of the top rankings in the patenting right now, because in last 4 or 5 years, we have patented something like 280 things, and 1.5 years back, Government of India gave us an award for that, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So I think that is a culture which we try to set in, and it's a recognition which everyone wants to go further, and therefore we should go ahead with this. That's the necessity, Punitji, in my opinion. Thank you.
Puneet, you have to unmute. Yeah, Puneet, you have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor Sancheti, for coining right words and giving directions to the young academic institutions. I mean, now coming to Professor Yaragatti, there is a quick query. Could you please suggest any example of hand-holding in your institution?
Yeah, you have rightly asked me the question, and people might be surprised why I am putting a mask in between the program. This is one product where alumni of MNIT, some 2000 batch, has come out with a transparent mask with a filter in this one. So he doesn't, the policy of marketing was a bit weak, he was there. So this we are now testing, finding out the market for him, as well as giving the publicity for the product. It's AHA Healthcare Private Limited, where he could register within 3 days. And it's a transparent mask. You can see my face also. You know, this is a new product. And there's two ventilators where the breathing can go out. Exhale breathing can go out. And this is a smart way of filtering the system when you are in a group of crowd. So this is changeable filter. Once a week you can change. And this will be less costlier than whatever the product available with a 95 brand. So this is one of the best system of hand holding where Mr. Akash, I think is Professor Sancheti's student in 2000 batch, he was struggling to product it. He was just selling it to his friends and all. Now he has a good market with the brand name of MNIT, MICC also. So this is one standing example. So I think people can see, you'll recognize who is Uday Kumar now. If you have a cloth mask, it's very difficult who is behind the mask. So this is one way of a new product and a very small scale industry where industry and institute can work together to make it and available to the society in this pandemic COVID situation also.
Thank you, Professor Yaragatti. Thank you. I mean, leadership by example, I mean, this is categorically I would like to mention, not merely stating or theoretically describing this and that. It is always better to come out with some solutions and providing a reference for whole society. Since already it is 12 o'clock, but session is going quite interesting. May I ask our eminent panelists to continue for another 15 minutes?
Yeah, it's okay.
Sure, no issue. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Puneet, most important part.
Yashwant.
Sorry. Most important part in this was we completed the registration of this startup by Akash in just 3 days. Just 3 days, end-to-end completion of the process of registering the startup. And then the product is being tested. It will be endorsed by MNIT. And then we are going to help him in whichever way we want. So this is just an example. There are many examples now.
So ease of business is already there at MIIC. It's a great example for others also. That if you are really doing hand holding, then it should be like that only. The innovator should focus primarily on product rather than on administrative processes. Coming to Yashwantji, there is a great initiative by your department, Kiran IPR, and earlier some product was there for women entrepreneurship also. Would like to know something more on that.
Yeah, thank you, Puneetji. Before I come on to that subject, I would like to react to Professor Yaragatti on this particular mask. See, we always think that patent and copyright is only intellectual property. This very underutilized intellectual property in this country is a design registration. And this particular case is a very fit case for the design registration because you may come up with n number of design with this transparent mask, which looks and appeals to eye of a people. And I think we must protect it through design registration, different variants, and really exploit this with the right kind of a protection, because patent protection may not be possible in this case, but it can be explored. Okay, now let me come to Puneetji's question of Kiran IPR. So in this country, you see, half of the populations, women who are well qualified in the science and technology, They have to be away from science and technology due to family reasons. Those may be marriages, children, taking care of a family. So they go away from science and technology. So in 2002, it was taught by the government of India at that point of time that how do we create opportunity for these women who are sacrificing their science career to the family and other need. So it was taught to have a women scientist scheme in Department of Science and Technology, and one component of that particular scheme was a women scientist scheme C, where it was taught that these women, after getting trained in the area of intellectual property rights, will be able to work from home or can start their entrepreneurship in advising scientists of our country in the issues relating to patents and patent protection. And why, from the other side, also it was important because if I go back to a bit of history in 1995, when we became part of WTO, so in whole of the country there were only 72 patent agents, and most of them were lawyers. So it was very difficult to make lawyers understand science and technology and scientific concepts. So by 2002, we were thinking that scientists should be involved in patent drafting, patent prosecution. So that the whole combination that these women can fill this void which exists in the area of patent and intellectual property rights. And with this scheme, we have trained about 700 women scientists, and I think about 25 of them have started their own intellectual property rights from they employed many other professionals in the area of intellectual property rights. So they have started their own, and most of them are working with IPR firm, and this actually infused maximum number of scientists in the patent profession in this country. So this whole patent drafting, patent prosecution scene has changed in this country now. The scientists are doing lawyers' work. So this mismatch of a thinking of a lawyer and a scientist has actually bridged, we are able to bridge that particular gap. So the proper protection of intellectual property is possible. So I think I will request Dr. Anita to add further on this.
Over to Anita ji, you. There is another question.
Taking on further what Yashwant has highlighted in terms of Kiran program, we focus on women entrepreneurship. We have been doing it through training programs, women EDPs, but of late, since 5-6 years, we really had a focus programs as the data revealed that when we started off in 2013, they were close to only 8 to 9% women founders constituting as a part of the startup tally. Today, we stand at about 32,000 startups as registered by DPIIT, and close to 15% are women-led startups in the country. We partnered with, when we are planning a good program, we really have to bring all the right set of partners on board. Luckily, we came across a very good not-for-profit entity, AnitaBorg.org, which is a US-based. Anita Borg was a computer scientist in the Clinton's team. Unfortunately, she expired, succumbed to brain cancer. And in her memory, I think you'll find all the women computer scientists, engineers who are still in engineering colleges participating in the Grace Hopper competition, which used to be held in Bangalore. And that's how we partnered them for a Women Entrepreneurship Quest program. That was the first kind of program we started, scouting for women entrepreneurs in tech domain across India, and awarding all top women entrepreneurs for all paid visit to Silicon Valley. And the value add we provide through this program is not only mentorship, the high-end mentorship, industry connect, but when we take them to Silicon Valley, where could one can aspire to have a 2-hour session with, you can say, the best of the you go to Sand Hill where the billion of investment take place. And you name any VC firm or IP firm, we have taken all the startups. We have made them pitch before the high-end people there, got their instant feedback. Unfortunately, all top-end VC firms have Indians, and they are so much willing to give their instant advice particularly to the women entrepreneurs. Such a welcome change. And if you see the profile of these women entrepreneurs, they do not lack confidence. In terms of their profile, work, education, industry exposure, experience, the kind of problem they are solving, you name, be it any social related, you talk of, it's a fully automatic machine for sanitary napkin to high-end, you can say millimeter wave technology through Astrom, one ISC postgraduate, UT Texas educated, she has done PhD, to any cyber security firm. Virtually in all domains, be it aerospace, you'll find women everywhere. So it's not that, see, healthcare is supposed to be the domain where, due to obvious reasons, we could find, because of biotechnology, microbiologists, virologists, are so many there in women in these domains. But you name any domain, we will find women, and such a heartening to note. We have promoted more than 700 women tech founders. We run 4 or 5 different accelerator programs. Some are domain focused. Like one is first was Empower program through our incubator, which is at iconic place, Bombay Stock Exchange, Zone Startup. And if you are a graduate of that particular cohort, you get an instant recognition that you have gone through that accelerator program. And it was a multi program partner with Germany, and also, and even AICT had supported a program to Zone Startup, where top 3 women entrepreneurs were taken to Canadian. And these not only they get connect to the market access to that particular place, they understand the law of the land, they open up their shop there, because if they see value, one of the women startup who was from the both husband-wife team from Texas Instruments, when she became mother, she utilized the domain knowledge how to make a smart cradle, a sensor-driven, fully smart cradle. And when we took her last year to Silicon Valley, she was smart enough. She planned her visit in a way to gain the maximum mileage. She went 2 weeks earlier, went to different places to do the market survey, because this is a high-end product. It needs whether she has a place in that particular, and she could actually, I think 500 orders she got. And that's how that gave her confidence that she needs to open an office there. So it's not like they don't go only for simply visit or getting exposure. It's a really action oriented, which leads to some actionable points and impacts. So all our programs are actually tailored and oriented towards giving a good outcomes and impact. And women, I must say, going forward, be it Atmanirbhar, if we don't take along 50% of our population, and I think most of the engineering institutions have a good intake, I think 30% odd, and give them enough avenues. And I think family plays a lot of role, institution plays a lot of role. If collectively and industry, everyone is coming on board, it's no better time to really take all these strata of society, all sections of the society, be it women. We need to provide a level playing field, and India will surely be will regain its lost ground, will be surely a superpower to come. So that's my hope and aspiration going forward.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anita, for emphasizing the need of women entrepreneurship as well. ईश्वर ने 2 हाथ दिए हैं, सिर्फ एक हाथ से काम नहीं चलेगा, दूसरे हाथ को भी आगे आना होगा. And they have to basically, there is nobody who is preventing them to come forward. It is their own mindset or thought process. Various government agencies are there to educate you, to help you, to do hand holding. Just come out with an idea, and in every city almost you will find incubation or innovation centers. You can approach them and they will help you to get connected further. This is all for today. I'm sure the interest, this session would have been quite interesting and useful. There is a lot to be taken out, but थोड़ी भूख हमेशा आगे के लिए रखनी जरूरी है. This is all for today, and over to Professor Jyotirmoy Mathur.
Thank you, Puneet, for giving us this wonderful session through all the four eminent panelists. Let me thank them individually. First of all, Professor Uday Kumar Yeragatti, Director MNIT and President of MNIT Incubation Center. He's always available whenever we organize such programs, and he's also personally interacting with many of our startups and giving ideas, refining ideas. So we are doing all possible things for supporting our startups. And they are not only from the areas of technology, they are also non-engineers. So there are a lot of non-engineers, just for information of all, who are registered with us, and we are trying to help them through technological interventions. Dr. Anita Gupta is was very insightful about government policies and other things. Just, madam, for your information, we have 12 women startups working here. And my personal experience while talking to them, discussing with them, is for giving a level playing field, actually, it is men who need support, not women. Because women entrepreneurs have more holistic view, better planning for developing and
Clear idea.
products,
Yes.
clear idea. So actually, it is the other way around. Frankly speaking, what we have found is that the success ratio in women entrepreneurs is higher as compared to male entrepreneurs for inherent holistic thinking ability, probably that women have. Thank you very much to Professor Sancheti. He has been my favorite teacher right from the days when I was a student, and it's always a treat hearing him, having some new ideas always coming from him, and the wide experience that he always carries. Thank you very much, sir, for bringing a lot of value to this panel. And last but not the least, a dear friend, Yashwant, the first patent application from MNIT, which was moved by me, was actually facilitated by Dr. Yashwant. And we set up a trend of having patent filing, not only in MNIT, but the entire Rajasthan ecosystem of IPR. Yashwant was the prime mover, and he's always, that's why, sorry if I'm not calling you Dr. Yashwant because of the friendly relations, what I carry with you. So with all the participants, thank you very much for attending this. Next 4 days are also equally exciting and informative. So tomorrow we have another session, especially focusing on what government policies are there for startups and also for IPR support system, and what we'll bring some experienced people also again on board. And third day is a training session, and the fourth and fifth day again are discussion sessions. Fourth day is discussion, and all the startups, successful as well as not so successful startups, are on our panel. Because what we feel is those who have not been successful, they bring more experience, more lessons, more not to do things on the panel and on the board. So that is the plan for this week. Please stay tuned. These 2-hour sessions are, I think, going to be value packed. Please make full benefit of that. Once again, thanking you.
And we have developed 12 products during this lockdown time, pandemic period, which are being used in a society. I feel proud to say that 12 plus products are in market, are helping the society, including the government hospitals, government buildings, government offices also. It's all the products of our students as well as the incubators in MIIC.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
MNIT, and congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
MNIT deserves to be congratulated. It's a very commendable work the way you have just highlighted. I think in every department you are doing really good, and that spirit and momentum should be continued.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
And I must also place on record, we have out of 150, nearly 20% good women CEOs driving the incubators. I think Monica Sharma, professor, also needs to be given due credit for it. And that's how we bring the change. And we all are representatives who are catalysts to change. And that spirit should be there, not only startups, but the institution champions and the one who have built the institutions, the ecosystem. They all need to be actually praised and given due credit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Puneet ji also. Okay,
Thank you,
Uday,
sir.
very nice to meet you through online mechanism. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Wonderful to join.
I have to acknowledge you because I learned a lot of things from you when you were NIT Surathkal.
We are always together. We learn from each other. These are the opportunities.
Right.
Great to be together.
Behind the scenes support from Dr. Patnaik, Dr. Sanjay Gaur, who's manager of our incubation center. Amar Patnaik, he's always our to-go person. Anything where you stuck up, you go to Dr. Amar Patnaik. Thank you very much for people.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
See you. All the best.
The session.
And